Influencers, social media, the press, heck even I, are all constantly putting out content, be that images or videos, that might make you consider upgrading the tech you currently own, whether that's the intention or an unfortunate byproduct. You take in media, you consume content, and that adds to basket button is looking ever so sweet. Finance plans available? I guess I could afford it. But I only upgraded last year. It's an easy trap to fall into, and one that so many millions unfortunately succumb to. So let's talk about how you can avoid these potential financial mistakes and not upgrade like a dummy. Hey guys, I'm Ryan Thomas, and I think the easiest and most obvious jumping off point here is that upgrading every year, unless you have obscene amounts of cash to splash or mobile phones is the only hobby you ever have, it's a bit of a silly thing to do, isn't it? Not only because of the sheer amount of money that these new models cost. I mean, even if you went out with the Pixel A series, a cut down model every single year, that's still $500 every year. But also because, at least compared to a decade ago, phones aren't improving enough year on year to really justify the purchase in the first place. And if you manage to degrade your battery health enough every year to warrant a brand new smartphone, holy heck, I need to see what your schedule's like. And on the flip side, even if you use all those trade-in deals and you get 50% off the brand new model every year, which some iPhone users do, that's still a lot of money to be chucking out every September for marginal upgrades on a device that you already had before. By all means do it if you really want to, but I don't think this is necessarily the smartest move. By the way guys, if you enjoy what we make around here, then please do hit subscribe to help us in hitting our goal of 500,000. Thank you very much. So if upgrading every year isn't the best idea, then when should you upgrade? Well, phones have become really good at getting old recently, with safe charging standards, battery protections, elite level displays that are seemingly just so much more immune to burn-in than the earlier OLEDs. And of course the software support extending deep into the 7-year territory. You're not necessarily penalised for holding onto your phone for past the 2 to 3 year contract period. I think it largely comes down to a simple idea. If you have to ask if you should upgrade, the chances are you probably don't need to, because I believe the biggest reason you would or should look to change your phone or device or whatever is because it's struggling to do what you want it to do, or just cannot outright. So if the battery doesn't last as long as you need anymore, if the screen is really unreadable outside, if it keeps lagging, crashing, force restarting, maybe you've outgrown the 256 gigabytes, you need something with 512 or a terabyte of space, maybe you need something with a micro SD card slot. You've entered a new hobby or career, and it makes much more sense to have a much more capable camera. I have certainly hit times with my computers or cameras or phones where I get frustrated that they can't do exactly what I need to do, and that is the light bulb moment to consider upgrading, if it's possible to do so of course. This is anecdotal evidence, but I have found that to be in around the 3 to 5 year period for smartphones and a 5 to 8 year period for laptops. That's when batteries tend to get really tired, but also in that time you generally have better hardware if you're shopping for a new device. More advanced software as well, the screens tend to be quite a bit brighter specifically on smartphones, and they are all big reasons to bite the bullet compared to what you're getting year on year. And the thing is, this isn't a hard or fast rule either. Things will change in a few years as well, as they have done in years prior. Because growth, innovation, improvements, they aren't linear. 64-bit processors were a substantial leap. Then it was the triple camera arrays, the boost from 64 to 128 and 256 gigabytes starting storage, the 120Hz displays, the insane brightness boost, the recent jump in battery sizes, particularly in those phones that use silicon carbon setups. But this stuff doesn't happen on an easy, predictable cadence, so, coming back to my idea of if you have to ask, you probably don't need to, it's often not required to upgrade every set few years, and more so when it feels right and makes sense. I want to bring in some secondhand or used examples here that I feel are very usable and enjoyable phones a few years down the line, ones that you can pick up for comparatively dirt cheap and provide sensational value for money. And just a disclaimer, your mileage is going to vary based on your region, which stores, which markets are available to you, and of course the quality of the item itself. Up first is my favourite deal, and that is the Galaxy S23 Ultra for under $500. This phone has the same 200 megapixel camera as the S25 Ultra, and I believe the same sensor as the S26 Ultra, although with a slower lens. It also has the S Pen with Bluetooth enabled, a massive gorgeous 120Hz AMOLED display, solid internals with a good fingerprint scanner, a 10 times optical zoom, and some great software with 1 more year of security support. It's a serious amount of phone for the money, this one. They can be had dirt cheap and are still very good for, I would say, at least another couple of years. The Pixel 9 Pro can be had even cheaper and for me has more legs in it. It's definitely more of a long-term prospect, being a couple of generations newer and having far more software support, which should take us through to the next decade. You can get these for around $450. The cameras might not be quite as amazing hardware-wise, but the software in these things makes them fantastic for capturing moving subjects like kids and pets. The small one is nice too. The Pixel 9 Pro is a fantastic option. Of course, I had to mention my beloved OnePlus 12, which can be had at under $500. This one's supported until Android 18, so it should have another 2 to 3 years of overall updates, and that does include security patches. Unlike the previous two though, you get a crazy 100-watt charger in the box with a much bigger and more capable battery, and some cameras that I absolutely love. It's not as well rounded as the Samsung and not as clever as the Pixel, but for me it's still a fantastic option for the money. Software support has extended a great amount to 7 or so years with the latest iPhones, Pixels and Galaxy S phones. So if you bought one right now, your phone would continue to be supported with security patches and platform upgrades until 2032, which is actually just kind of nuts. We have progressed a great deal from the early 2010s, where you'd be lucky to find yourself with like 3 years of updates, let alone 7. But the 7 years of support doesn't account for software locked to particular hardware, like AI advancements that will only run on the newer phones, really annoying despite the fact they run the same version of Android, or at least they say they do. It kind of muddies the waters a little bit. Trade-ins are also a pretty good way to save yourself some serious money, though again, it's not a hard and fast rule. Google, Apple and Samsung can offer some pretty good deals depending on where you live, but you might end up better off selling privately if you can deal with the potential hassle that can arise. The outcomes of either option are also kind of dependent on how well you've looked after your phone. Have you run a case and a screen protector on it since the second it came out of the box? Or are you kind of demolishing it by charging it on a laptop brick and then dropping it carelessly every day? This stuff majorly affects trade-in or private sale value. It can be a bit finicky, a bit awkward. As hard as it can be, I do recommend trying to avoid social media if you're struggling with avoiding the buy it now button. It can save you some serious cash and you can put that to better use. Let me know how often you upgrade your smartphone in the comment section, and be sure to hit like if you enjoyed today's content and subscribe to never miss another upload on this channel. Thank you all so much for watching. I've been Ryan Thomas and I will catch you later. Cheers.